Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight for Explore the World Live presentation on Discover Canada. We hope you have a little fun and learn something maybe you didn't know about our beautiful country. Our format for this evening is to introduce our team, do a quick update on Travel Rebound, and present our coast-to-coast Canadian tour. After the presentation, we will review the quiz answers. If you pre-registered, you would have received the quiz this afternoon in your email. If you didn't receive it, it's in the chat box now if you want to just have a little fun with it. Our team will stay on after the presentation to answer any questions. If you have a travel question, please put it into the chat box and we'll get to it at the end. All attendee cameras and microphones will be turned off for the presentation. And now on to introductions. Hello, everyone. I'm Sandy Lang of Lang Travel. I've been in the industry for, 23 years, and I was born in our nation's capital. I've driven across Canada several times and was very surprised the first time to see these hills of snow in Saskatchewan until somebody told me they were potash. Nicola? You're on mute.
I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicola Ratte, and I've been in the travel industry for over 14 years. I have been to all Canadian provinces and the Yukon at least one. I also have driven across the country. It's quite beautiful. And having grown up within a short drive of the Baltic and the North Sea and an important port city, I feel a special connection to the maritime provinces. Jennifer?
Right. Yes. And I am pleased to introduce my colleague, Joanne Saab, who is just not with us because she's actually out touring a little bit of Canada up with her family in Quebec City. But she is with Curated Travel and has been with Travel Only as well, almost 10 years. And then myself, Jennifer McPherson, with Turnkey Travel. And I, like my colleagues, have traveled extensively across Canada, driven coast to coast, not all in one shot, but my husband and I had actually spent several months camping from St. John's, Newfoundland to Ottawa. And I think that that's a beautiful way to see your country camping and seeing the beauty of it. And I just remember turning the corner in one of the bays in St. John's, Newfoundland and seeing all of the humpback whales. But I do have a special spot with Vancouver Island.
Thank you very much. And now on to our travel rebound. There is a lot of cautious optimism as the world starts to reopen. Currently, 28% of the world's population has received at least one vaccine dose, with 14% fully vaccinated. Almost 4 billion vaccines have been administered, with over 34 million every day. Countries have been updating their entry protocols and requirements continuously, and it is imperative that travelers check for the destinations that they're traveling to often and just before travel, and know that it is their responsibility to ensure that they're in compliance with all of the requirements. It was disappointing to hear that the US has extended its border closure with Canada until at least August 21st. And today it was announced that Canada is not on the UK no quarantine list. These restrictions remain despite Canada opening its borders to fully vaccinated travelers soon. However, it is certainly encouraging to hear the Canadian government lift the mandatory 3-day hotel stay upon return for fully vaccinated passengers. This has prompted a surge of bookings for late 21 and into 22. March break 2022 is certainly looking very busy. All passengers over the age of 5 returning to Canada will still require a valid PCR or LAMP test prior to boarding your flight and a possible random test upon arrival in Canada. Canada has been doing very well with vaccine numbers and a steadily declining active cases. Currently, there are just over 5,100 active COVID cases across Canada. Vaccines are at 57% at least have had one dose, with 70%, sorry, 57% is fully vaccinated, with 70% with just one dose. We're currently sitting in about 11th place in world vaccination standings. Some provinces have opened their borders to welcome fellow Canadians, and others still have protocols in place. For example, Manitoba still requires a 14-day quarantine if not fully vaccinated. Atlantic provinces all have pre-registration forms to be submitted and approved prior to arrival. If not fully vaccinated, you could be denied entry. All of this information can be found at travel.gc.ca, travel COVID, travel restrictions, provinces. And now on to Nicola to start us off in the Atlantic provinces.
Okay, let's start with Atlantic Canada. The best time to visit is between May and October. The warmest months are July to August, but they're also the busiest. September and October are great for the fall colors. Canada has 12 dark sky preserves, and 4 out of the 12 can be found in the Atlantic provinces. So if you are into stargazing, the Maritimes are a wonderful place to experience this. How to get there? If you don't want to do it as I have done it once, a 48-hour bus drive with 30 U's. It's more enjoyable to fly or drive with your own car. We are starting off with Newfoundland and Labrador. We are talking about Iceberg Alley, the Terra Nova National Park, Trinity and Trinity Bay, and the Cape Spear Lighthouse and the Exploit River. Iceberg Alley is an area extending from the coast of Labrador to the northeastern coast of Newfoundland. May, June, and early July are the best months to watch. The best way to see icebergs is by boat, kayak, and land. After the excitement, indulge in iceberg water, vodka, rum, gin, and yes, iceberg beer from the Quidi Vidi Brewery. The Terra Nova National Park is a great destination for the whole family to go hiking, paddling, fishing, and camping. You can also book a tentic or an oasis, an accommodation that resembles a water droplet. Some animals that live in the park include black bears, caribou, coyotes, beavers, lynx, and moose. However, moose are a non-native species introduced to Newfoundland in 1904. The best whale watching I have ever experienced is in Trinity Bay. The best time for whale watching is May to September. Here you can also hike the Skirkwing Trail, and if you love chocolate, a stop at Aunt Sarah's Chocolate Shop is a must. This is how close, I don't know if you can see my cursor, how close the whales were. Like you could touch them. It was just amazing. 16. So on to Nova Scotia. There are more bars and clubs in Halifax than in any other city in Canada. It is fitting that the city's most famous brewmaster was also mayor 3 times. Alexander Key's original 1820 brewery greets visitors with costumed guys, stories, and a great ale. In Mahone Bay, which is about here, narrow streets are lined with studios and galleries from some of Canada's finest artists and craftsmen. The calm waters of Mahone Bay are home to hundreds of islands and abundant bird and marine life. The area is ideal for exploring by kayak. Or you can follow the Good Cheer Trail, Canada's premier craft brewery and distillery route, taking you from Cape Breton all the way down to Yarmouth. Not only does the island of Cape Breton offer spectacular scenery and rich cultural heritage, but here you also find Cape Breton's first single malt whiskey distillery in North America, the Glenora Distillery. They produce a variety of specialty whiskeys and rums, but their most famous product is Glen Breton Rare, a Scottish-style single malt whiskey made from copper pot stills that were hammered out by hand in Scotland. Sample local spirits at Ironworks, Nova Scotia's first micro-distillery. The company distills vodka, rum, liqueurs, and brandies from local produce by hand in small batches. Nova Scotia is also an emerging wine region. There are 4 major wine producing regions in Nova Scotia: the Malagash Peninsula, the Annapolis Valley, and the Annapolis Valley and Bear River Valley, and the Lehave River Valley. Okay, now on to Prince Edward Island. Sorry. Arriving via the 13-kilometer Confederation Bridge from New Brunswick, you'll be presented with amazing views of the island. There are 3 scenic coastal drives to discover the best of PEI. The Central Coastal Drive, the North Cape Drive, and the the Points East Coastal Drive. The Central Coastal Drive highlights 2 different regions, the Red Sand Shores in the south and the Green Gable Shores in the north. The Central Coastal Drive features Cavendish and the Prince Edward Island National Park, Darnley and Cabot Beach, the seaside town of Victoria, and the capital city of Charlottetown. If you are near Darnley or Cabot Beach, you have to go to Malbec and have lunch at the Oyster Barn. And of course, you have to try the fresh Malbec oysters. Take the North Cape Coastal Drive and experience a medley of classic island scenery, white red sand beaches, towering red sandstone capes, and iconic lighthouses. Here you find houses made from glass bottles and fudge made from potatoes. The Points East Coastal Drive on the eastern part of the island is for you to slow down and enjoy the many golf courses, beaches, lighthouses, and historical and cultural attractions, and 12 provincial parks. Now on to New Brunswick. French is a common language heard in New Brunswick, and that is because it's the only official bilingual province in Canada with 40% of the population French speaking. I am highlighting some locations on the west to the border to Maine. Then we go to the south, the Bay of Fundy, to the Northumberland Strait, up north to the border to Quebec. If you are coming by car, you're probably coming on Highway 2, and the first bigger city is Edmundston. From there, you go south and you can visit Grand Falls, which are waterfalls over a series of rock ledges. Stop in Heartland to see the longest covered wooden bridge in the world. King's Landing is 20 minutes west of Fredericton and is a living history museum with original buildings from the 1820s to 1920s. At St. Andrews by the Sea, we are now at the Bay of Fundy, you can go whale watching or golfing. In St. John, you can visit the Reversing Falls, the city markets, food and craft stalls, and further up the Bay of Fundy, the Fundy National Park and Hopewell Rocks Provincial Park. The flower pot rocks have been created by tidal erosions. You can walk on the ocean floor at low tide or kayak at high tide. Close to the border to Nova Scotia is Fort Beauséjour, which the French and the Mi'kmaq lived in harmony since 1621. This fort was built by the French and under French rule from 1751 to 1755. It fell into British and was named Fort Cumberland from 1755 to 1835. and depicts the history of deportation of the Acadian people between 1755 and 1763. If we are going up to the east, you go again to the Confederation Bank, and further up to Northumberland Strait, there is Moncton, where you can watch the tidal bore, which occurs twice a day and pushes a 50 to 100 centimeter high wave upstream the Petitcodiac River. Magnetic Hill is also close by, and it's a family fun, an optional illusion where the cars are rolling uphill. Further up on the Northumberland Strait, of course, there is Shediac, the lobster capital of the world and the world's largest lobster. Lobster dinner can be booked on boats, and you will fish for lobster, is that the right word? And eat it on the boat. Cape Pelée, there's an area that's called Pointe du Chien Wharf, and please excuse my French. Wharf, there are a few restaurants, and it has spectacular sunsets. Bouctouche is a 12-kilometer sand dune, and Kouchibouguac National Park offers camping, swimming, cycling, hiking, and the only other time I saw a black bear. The other time was in the Yukon. Further up, you go to Miramichi, which is great for canoeing, but it's world renowned for salmon fishing. On the Gulf to St. Lawrence is a little town called Shippagan, and it has an aquarium and marine center that is open from June to September and offers a variety of species living in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and you can even touch them. Okay, next one. So now we are at the border to Quebec, and there's a little village that is called Bertrand, and there's a village historique Acadian. It's also an open air museum depicting the life of the Acadian people from 1770 to the 1949. It is totally different to King's Landing, and if you visit both, you will see the difference. You can either go from Bathurst to St. Quentin on Highway 180, which is 140 kilometers long, and the road, it was called the Road to Resources, so there's hardly any traffic, but it's a beautiful drive. Just make sure you have enough gas. Or you can go the usual road from Bathurst to Campbellton and into Quebec. And that is for me. Sandy.
Thank you, Nicola. And now Joanne has prepared some information on Quebec and Ontario that she wanted to share, even though she can't be with us. So here is Quebec. Quebec is Canada's largest province by land mass. So obviously we're not going to get to all of it. However, from outdoor activities and sports, Quebec is a great place to be, and it all begins with stepping outside. Nature lovers will love the myriad of hiking and biking trails and many activities on the water. So let's start in Quebec City. Quebec City, Old Quebec City is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the only fortified city north of Mexico. Stroll through cobblestone streets and soak up the city's magnificent heritage and European charm. Travel magazines continually rate Quebec as one of the world's top destinations. The pinnacle of the city is the impressive Chateau Frontenac, the historic hotel built by CP Railway in 1893, and is currently a luxury Fairmont hotel. Be sure to experience high tea there for a really special afternoon. 90 minutes east of Quebec City is the Charlevoix area, located on the north shore of the St. Lawrence River. This region contains rolling hills, fjords, and bays, and was designated as a UNESCO World Biosphere Reserve, and soon to be home to Canada's newest all-inclusive resort. The photo on the left was taken just off the coast of Bay St. Paul in the Charlevoix area. Surrounded by imposing mountains, this bay is known for its numerous art galleries, and dynamic cultural scene. This 350-year-old village, one of the oldest in Quebec, is a great little town to explore and is the birthplace of Cirque du Soleil. Whether strolling along the charming St. John Baptiste Street or sampling local products, Bay St. Paul will move, delight, and inspire you. Moving west of Quebec is the Laurentians. This area is found 90 minutes north of Montreal and offers amazing experience all 4 seasons of the year. Tremblant Village is perfect for a getaway any time of the year. Obviously a very popular ski resort, but in the summer, the village comes alive with music festivals, restaurants, and activities, relaxing on the lake, or for the adventurous, be sure to try the mountain luge track. A hidden gem in Quebec is the Spa Scandinave, an amazing outdoor Nordic spa with incredible views along the River Diable, Devil's River. Treat yourself to a massage and spend the afternoon relaxing in the outdoor thermal spas. Need I say more? Ontario. Assuming most of the people attending this webinar are from the GTA, we thought we would highlight some of the regions outside of Toronto. Starting in our nation's capital in Ottawa. Enjoy the beauty of the historic buildings on Parliament Hill with grand Victorian architecture. The park-lined Rideau Canal is filled with boats in the summer and ice skaters in the winter. And don't forget to stop at Byward Market for some fresh produce, as well as gifts and unique arts and crafts by local artisans. Tobermory, located at the top of the Bruce Peninsula. Tobermory is a lakeside town surrounded by crystal clear waters, the majestic Niagara Escarpment, and is home to Flower Pot Island, along with 2 national parks. The towering cliffs of the Niagara Escarpment provide a background to some of the most beautiful vistas in nature. The Bruce Trail offers visitors some of the best hiking experiences on the peninsula. Only a 3-hour drive from Toronto makes it a great weekend getaway or an adventurous day trip. Niagara. Of course, how can we talk about Ontario and not mention the beauty of the Niagara region? Niagara is so much more than just the falls. Recently, there has been an explosion of incredible dining experiences and delicious farm-to-table foods at local wineries, distilleries, and you can experience small batch wines and microbrewing offers as well. Picturesque Niagara-on-the-Lake is only a 20-minute drive from the falls and offers hiking along the Niagara Gorge, wine tour by bike, or hire a driver for a day, and hopefully soon the return of the Shaw Festival for theater lovers. There are now over 40 wineries in the Niagara region. Hidden gem in Ontario is the Torrens Barrens Dark Sky Preserve. To see stars like you've never seen them before, head to the pitch black darkness of Torrens Barrens Dark Sky Preserve. While standing on a barren moonlight terrain, visitors will see the beautiful night sky illuminated by thousands of stars located outside of Bala, 2 hours north of Toronto in the heart of Muskoka. It's very popular with our astronomers and stargazers, but anyone can appreciate the breathtaking beauty of starlight. I actually stumbled across Torrens Barrens after a wine and glamping retreat weekend at the Soul Institute in Muskoka. It was an amazing experience, a little yoga, some wine, some nature, some good camaraderie, and an amazing way to spend a weekend. And now on to Manitoba. Welcome to Manitoba, Canada's 5th most populous province, home to more than 100,000 lakes with more than 2,300 hours of bright sunshine a year. It might be -30, but at least the sun will be shining. Manitoba means where the spirit lives and is considered a keystone province due to its shape and position in the center of Canada. Both of my parents were born in Winnipeg, and we spent many summers traveling to Winnipeg to visit relatives. Just a little tidbit, after our presentation last month, the town of Gimli, Manitoba has the largest Icelandic community outside of Iceland. Some must-see attractions in the province include Assiniboine Park and Zoo, the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, which is Canada's oldest dance company and the longest continuously operating ballet company in North America. The Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and Fort White Alive, 640 acres of prairie lakes, forest, and wetlands, many indoor and outdoor activities during the summer and during the winter. North of Winnipeg, you will find warm sandy beaches and sand dunes that reach 30 feet high at Grand Beach Provincial Park, located on Lake Winnipeg, Manitoba's largest lake. Churchill, Manitoba is one of the top 3 places in the world to see the Northern Lights. Hudson's Bay has over 25,000 beluga whales, 3,000 of which visit Churchill area from mid-June to mid-August. You can even kayak with them, although I don't think I would try that. And for my fellow curlers, did you know that Manitoba has more curling clubs than Ontario and Quebec combined? I've curled for many years and I did not know that. Hidden gem in Manitoba, driving 3 hours west of Winnipeg, you will come across Souris, Manitoba, and the Souris Swinging Bridge, Canada's longest historic suspension bridge, measuring 184 meters, built in 1904. Also, take some time to visit the mystical old oak tree, one of the oldest in Manitoba. The exact age is unknown, but it's estimated that the tree has been there since 1497, which predates any recorded history in North America. And now we're on to Saskatchewan. Welcome to Canada's Middle Prairie Province, Saskatchewan. They also boast more than 100,000 lakes. The top half of the province is mainly forested and sparsely populated. About half of the residents live in the largest city of Saskatoon and the provincial capital of Regina. Some must-see attractions: Great Sand Hills, located near the village of Sceptre. These hills rise 5 stories above the prairie and cover more than 1,900 kilometers. For a nostalgic summer evening, catch a movie on the big screen at one of the province's 5 drive-ins. Jubilee Drive-In at Manitou Beach has been operating for almost 70 years. The Big Muddy Badlands are sprawling hills, valleys, and caves that were once frequented by Chief Sitting Bull and later a hideout for outlaws such as Sam Kelly. A relic of the Ice Age, Castle Butte rises 60 meters above the surrounding landscape. Southern Prairie Railway in Ojima will transport you back in time as the vintage locomotive rolls through the landscape. Visit Moose Jaw, where the downtown is packed with heritage buildings, unique shops, and excellent restaurants. You may want to spend the whole weekend there to see the geothermal mineral pools, tunnels from Prohibition, the Gallery Cafe, in the 1910 Land Titles building. For unique accommodation, how about a night in a grain bin? Visit Alive Sky Lodge, Bin Credible, located west of Saskatoon in Rosetown, for a choice of unique sleeping options. Northern Saskatchewan offers 13 provincial lakes with crystal clear lakes, 13 provincial parks with crystal clear lakes, canoe routes, fishing, hiking trails, choice of accommodation, from luxury to yurts to Authentics, which is a cross between an A-frame cabin and a prospector's tent. You can spot some grazing bison at Winooskawin, 5 minutes from Saskatoon, and make sure you stay for the popular Can We Moon dinner, an outdoor decadent dinner served outside at sunset, followed by a campfire with storytelling. In the provincial capital of Regina, head over to Royal Saskatchewan Museum to visit Scotty, the world's oldest and largest Tyrannosaurus Rex. Saskatchewan Hidden Gem is the Manitou Springs Resort and Mineral Spa. The intense mineral concentration of Little Manitou Lake draws people from around the lake for the water's reputed healing properties. After a soak in the indoor pool, put on your dancing shoes and kick up your heels at Danceland, an old-fashioned dance hall with one of the last horsehair sprung dance floors in North America. And now on to Jen.
Good. Excellent. Just getting that. Good. Yes, as you drive from the plains of Saskatchewan into Alberta, you'll notice that you'll start to see a shift in landscape. You'll start to get that Badlands and the desert-like into the towering mountains of the Rockies. So first though, let's head off the Trans-Canada and head north up to Edmonton. And that is where, oh, not getting it here. Okay, there we go. Excellent. That's where many of our arts and culture attractions are located, including the Royal Alberta Museum and the Art Gallery of Alberta. And I did not know that it also boasts North America's oldest and largest fringe festival and has a very popular folk music festival. So lots to do in Edmonton. But those on the hunt for more adventure often spend a couple of nights pre or post before enjoying one of the many outdoor activities nearby. So you can catch the Northern Lights again at a dark sky preserve, countless hiking trails, and then lots of biking as well up there, fishing. And then you can also see a ton of wildlife in the Northern Alberta sphere, bison, elk, coyotes, moose, and then lots of winter activities, although it does get chilly up there. But Edmonton even has its own frozen skating paths around the city and their own form of dog sledding, which looks quite interesting. So, and for those that are looking to just perhaps spend some time in the city, you can also take in a game or, of course, the fun-filled West Edmonton Mall for all the shoppers. So there's lots of things to see and do in Edmonton. The hidden gem that I picked out was actually here in Elk Island National Park. And you can again rent an authentic, which is up here. Sorry, it moved on me. There we go. Or you can rent one of the, okay. This is having its mind of its own here. Okay, we won't touch anything. One of these geodomes here for ultimate stargazing. So you can be inside this glass dome while you're experiencing the full adventure of the forest and wildlife around you, and then stargaze at night. So I definitely want to try one of those. Excellent. Then you can head south along the Edmonton-Calgary corridor, about 3 hours into Cowtown, Alberta's most populated city at 1.3 million. So most tourists do fly into Calgary, but then only spend a night or two before heading into the Rockies. But there's lots to see and do. So you can take a bird's eye view up here in the Calgary Tower. You can rent some bicycles and explore some of the many riverside trails, or lots and lots of top-rated restaurants and beer halls that are around Calgary. Sports are popular, but the biggest attraction happens every July with the Calgary Stampede, 10 days of rodeo excitement, festivities, and headliner entertainment. So I've been to the Stampede and it's definitely a highlight. So from Calgary, you can head into southern Alberta or cross even over into the US, into Montana. But my favorite is the drive back out to the Badlands to explore the prehistoric playland of Drumheller. You can take a guided or self-guided or even camp under the stars across this fascinating area to see hoodoos and fairy chimneys up close. And you'll need to spend several hours at the Royal Tyrrell Museum to get your full dinosaur fix. So I've been there and loved it. After experiencing the Badlands, you can head west and literally see the line of mountains ahead of you on the horizon as you cross into the Rockies, which are the #1 tourist destination, but you've got Canmore, the Kananaskis, and Jasper, which are all very popular as well. There are no shortage of places to explore depending on your activity level. So you'll need a pass for the Banff National Park, but Johnston Canyon is a very popular moderate hike. And you've got the spectacular views of Lake Louise or the Moraine Lake with their brilliant turquoise glacier water. Renting a canoe at Emerald Lake, though, to avoid the longer wait times at the other lakes is a great activity, or you can try the informative boat cruise on Lake Minnewanka. Or if you don't mind the heights, try the Lake Louise gondola for a fantastic view while you enjoy a local brew. Another popular side trip is up to the Columbia ice fields and taking in a glacier ride on an all-terrain vehicle, or breathtaking helicopter ride, or heart-thumping walk out on the glass-floored glacier skywalk at Jasper National Park. And in the winter, of course, there's lots of ski opportunities from Sunshine Village to Castle Mountain to the historic Lake Louise. Most visitors do rent a car and drive from Calgary, but there are some bus tours available. Or you can pick up the luxury-filled train experience aboard the Rocky Mountaineer. There are also a variety of accommodations from outback camping sites to the luxurious Fairmont hotels, and so many delicious and new restaurants and craft beer pubs popping up. You can't help but enjoy them all. So heading west, through the engineering wonder of the spiral tunnels, you'll cross into BC, where a whitewater rafting trip down the Yoho River while staying in Golden, which I did with my family a few years ago, is a must-do activity. There's great skiing at Kicking Horse as well in the winter. And once you reach BC's interior, then the landscape shifts again into the drier, non-coastal areas south of the Fraser River, such as the Okanagan, which are rich with minerals and ideal for wineries and fruit farms, but unfortunately also prone to forest fires. The lakes, particularly around Kamloops and Kelowna, are a summer playground, or to enjoy the winter sports and skiing at Big White. The mighty Fraser River winds its way through the Rockies to empty out just south of Vancouver. Here is BC's largest and busiest city, where you can truly experience it all in one day, from climbing Grouse Mountain to seeing whales in the Strait of Georgia, to shopping and eating around Granville Island, to cycling around Stanley Park, to relaxing at a variety of beaches, or enjoying water sports at some of the best cultural sporting attractions around. Vancouver is also an extremely diverse city, especially with Asian and Aboriginal communities, and has one of Canada's largest Pride communities. From Vancouver, you can catch a ferry or a seaplane, just can't drive, and hop on over to Vancouver Island, which I love. You can spend a few days or more exploring this microcosm of history and nature, starting with the Royal BC Museum and Butchart Gardens down in BC's capital of Victoria, and then countless beautiful hiking and biking trails, both inland or oceanside, or do some lake or ocean fishing before heading over to the west coast to Tofino, Canada's surf capital, where you can grab a whale watching or ocean kayaking tour, or do some storm watching depending on the season. I was actually just in Victoria yesterday. And then from Vancouver, you can also head up the drive on the Sea to Sky Highway, a couple of hours to the scenic stops of Squamish or Whistler, a little bit farther. And they totally await adventure seekers with all of their internationally popular mountain biking, climbing, skiing, snowboarding hills. And I call them hills loosely. You can enjoy a ride up the Sea to Sky gondola and take in the views of Mount Tantalus. And then of course, you'll enjoy walking around Olympic Park up in Whistler and enjoying all the shopping and dining. So the BC coast is rich with wildlife and Aboriginal history, but most is only accessible by water or air. So if you are looking for a more off the beaten path experience, then there are excellent tours, such as those up to the Haida Gwaii, that will give you a true coastal experience. And for those who want to follow even more the call of the wild, travelers can head up farther north into one of our territories, first being Yukon, right above the BC border. And the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut all make up over 40% of Canada's landmass. In the Yukon, you can trace one of the many gold rush trails, or take in a First Nations festival, or don't forget the wildlife far outweigh the people up here. So you're plenty to see, plenty of moose, caribou, bison, grizzly, black bear, and maybe even an elusive muskox as you drive along the Dempster Highway. And no trip to Dawson City is complete without watching or participating in a sour toe cocktail. And I'll let you look that one up. So from fast flowing rivers to beautiful surroundings that are only accessible by plane, the people in the Northwest Territories and Nunavut are very welcoming. Though the biggest tourist draws now are wildlife photography and viewing, and fishing and hunting, which you'll need a license for. So some types of fish that you might expect to include are Arctic char, Arctic grayling, and northern pike. And of course, you've got your salmon. Tours up to Nunavut to see polar bears, walruses, belugas, or narwhals, the unicorns of the sea, right here, are becoming more accessible, but travel time is still very extensive and can require multiple flights. And the summer months are the best to visit, so you get the longest daylight. Excellent. And we just wanted to make mention as well, because of course we realize that long before we as settlers have been here in Canada, that the Indigenous peoples of Canada have been a part of this land, and we want to respect all of the tourist attractions that we are mentioning tonight as wanting to be part of the First Nations communities and work with them to make everything sustainable and mutually beneficial throughout our country, because without all of these great, wonderful, natural, beautiful attractions, we wouldn't have much of a country to explore. And as you can see, Canada is a big country and has so much to offer, but it can take a lifetime of just traveling to see it all. So although you may not to do it, all of it right now, you can at least start by enjoying a little slice of it. Great. Did we have an opportunity at the beginning to just mention that on our chat box as well, to please feel free to put on any of our questions that you might have for any of us during the presentation, and we can answer some of those. But I think the biggest thing that we typically get when dealing with domestic inquiries is just the logistics around traveling within Canada, because it is so large that people can want to do almost too much within the span of time that they have allotted. So for example, you know, they want to come out to BC for 1 week, and they want to fly into Vancouver and get over to the island and do Victoria and all the way there, and then also see Whistler, or maybe go and to the interior and to the Okanagan Valley. And to respect that the travel times through a lot of these places are extensive, and even to say when you fly into Halifax and then people want to go to Cape Breton, and that's a 4.5-hour drive, or to just even fly into Toronto and then head north, it can be many hours. And as you all know that live around the GTA, depending on the weekend traffic, it can be even longer than that. So trying to be a little bit more specific with when and how you want to travel and what you want to see, because you can go back to one of these provinces many times over and see different spots and different times of the year. I think we've all explained how seasonally our country changes, which is a wonderful part of it. It's not just a one season. You can go and see the colors through the fall. You can go skiing in the mountains in the wintertime, and then you can enjoy something out in the Atlantic and the whale watching through the summertime. So getting down, you could literally visit the same place 4 times over and get a different experience depending on when you travel. So I would say that we have opened up a lot over the last number of years in Canada, and there are a lot more options out there. So if, I don't know, Sandy and Nicola, you have any comments about what you've arranged for your clients that have been a little bit more unique?
I just want to say, if you take the ferry from Sydney to Port de Basque, Newfoundland, and you take the late night or the late evening ferry, try to get a cabin. Like, it's so worth it. Like, there's just the normal seating, or you just get a ticket to be on the ferry. Then there's a lounge room where you can actually recline the seating.
Nice.
So if you don't get a cabin, then at least book that. Otherwise, it just, like, especially if you have driven for a long time from Ontario, like, book a cabin. You have a shower and you have a bed. It's not like on a cruise ship, but it's good.
Yes.
And yeah, what Jennifer said with the sourdough, I've done it, and I have my certificate. So it's not that bad. It's just in your head. But yes, no.
I'll kayak with the belugas. You can drink the tow.
And there's also another great way to see Canada, and that's by Via Rail. I've taken it as well from Toronto out west, and it's very, very relaxing. It's a wonderful way to travel, and without the headaches of driving, and it's a great way to see the country as well.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. Well, wonderful. Well, excellent. I didn't see any other questions. Ladies, did you see anything?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, then feel free, everyone, to contact us, because this is a great time to even book something last minute, but earlier the better to get something in domestically, because we don't typically have as many accommodation options, particularly in the summer for the smaller areas that are more popular. So getting in early, if you know you've got a B&B that you want, or a particular hotel, and then we can arrange that and see. But Newfoundland, I know, is popular on people's lists, as well as coming out west, but there's so much in between, and you can't go wrong with any of them. So thank you again very much for joining us this evening. You can check out this presentation as well as any others. And then, yes, I'm getting one comment there that, again, with COVID, yes, we don't know internationally how things are going to shake out, particularly right now with our mix and match vaccine situation, but you can always travel domestically and enjoy many different things, from white sand beaches to snow-capped mountains. So you don't have to go that far. You don't have to go overseas to ski beautiful mountains, or go down south for white sand beaches. You can get that all here in Canada.
Yeah.
But most definitely, we want to thank you, and you can check out on our YouTube channel, Explore the World Live, if you search on that, and all of our monthly presentations, as well as our supplier coffee chats, are online there. And then next month, we're going to shake it up a little bit and do a trivia and cocktails night with all of you. We thought that would be fun. So we'll send you some details about just downloading this little trivia game called Kahoot. And we'll set things up for you, and we'll have more details about that. So you can mark that in Wednesday, August 25th into your calendars, invite some friends, and we'll keep you posted on the details. So thanks again, everybody. We will be, yes, and something about Rocky Mountaineer.
Jennifer and I just have been on the Rocky Mountaineer. Unfortunately, it was cut short, but it was amazing, right, Jennifer? Like, we had.
Yes. Yeah, and I think Nicola and I have both done our blog posts. So if you pop over to either of our websites, then you can read a little bit and see video and photos, etc., on what we experienced, and that will give you a little bit of an idea. And then we're always here and happy to answer any questions you might have about the Rocky Mountaineer. That's great.
All right.
Good. All right. So again, we're happy to stay on, but thanks again, everybody who has joined us this evening. And we'll sign off the formal presentation now, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great summer. Stay safe, everyone.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining. Sorry,
Take
it's a
care.
little bit late, but thank you.